Hey everybody, welcome to the Sylvania football show. As you can tell, Coach Waldrop is a little busy at the moment. He texted me a few minutes ago, said he'd just finished practice, so maybe he'll be able to hop on here and join us here shortly. But in the meantime, you got myself, D. Howard Cheney, along with uh, QB1. Where'd all of our names go? What'd
Yeah,
you do to just make our names disappear?
I
take
didn't
our
want
names off.
It's all good.
You're supposed to say that Brad Waldrop's on special assignment.
Well,
And
he
he'll be
may
here.
actually
And he'll
appear.
be here shortly. He'll be here shortly.
Yeah. So anyway, I know the names without actually seeing them. I've known these guys for about 3 weeks now, so maybe I can remember their names. But we got the founder of River City Media and CEO, Mr. Professional Randall Cunningham, but I knew him when he was Randy before he grew up.
Hey, look at this beard. That's a Randall right there.
There you go. That's going to be the other member of the ZZ Top for long.
She's got legs.
And of course, over to my right, y'all's left, wherever, with a pinkish peach shirt on. You hear him on Friday Night Scoreboard on WQSB, Mr. Phil Harris. Phil, thanks for joining us on this Sylvania football show.
Glad to stick my head in. I hadn't got to talk to Brad very much, or Coach Waldrop very much, so it'd be nice to get a little word in with him.
Yeah, been a bye week this week for Sylvania. Where we was going to go ahead and talk about this past week's North Jackson game, and then next week's Holly Pond game. Hopefully he'll be here with us a few minutes. Like I said a little bit earlier, he texted me, he said just finished practice, so hopefully he'll be able to get with us here in a few minutes. But in the meantime, we're going to talk a little bit of football. It's the first time we've all been around and been able to talk football in quite some time as far as actually speaking in public. Most time it's all three of us texting each other about different things, different games. And lo and behold, as I speak and all that, it's Coach Waldrop. Coach, thanks for joining us, man.
Hey, sorry, Chief. It is what it is, buddy.
Hey,
Hey,
man.
thank you for showing up. We were about to start freestyling, and nobody wanted to listen to us.
Yeah.
I'd probably rather hear y'all than me.
I
No.
wouldn't be so sure about that. I can't even keep my camera up.
So let's Coach Waldrop, thanks for joining us today. Tonight, we know it's a busy time of the year for you, and you know QB1. You've talked to him a couple times already. You know Mr. Phil Harris down here, the voice, one of the voices of QSB Friday Night Scoreboard. And Coach, we're doing the show tonight. I know it's a bye week, but next week is a holiday week and got a lot of stuff going on. So that's why we're not going to have a show next week. So we're going to talk a little bit about North Jackson and preview a little bit about Holly Pond and who knows where this may take us to. Hope that's all right with you, Coach.
I'm just here for the ride.
Well, buddy, buckle up and get ready. Here we go. We're fixing to hit high speed.
Like Marshawn Lynch said, I'm just here so I don't get fined, Howie.
Yeah.
That's the greatest answer in the history of River-City-Media.
Coach, let's talk a little bit about last week's game against North Jackson. Tough loss at North Jackson, 20-0. But I spoke with several people, and they were all in agreeing that he's just a couple plays away from bringing home a victory. I know it kind of sounds odd being 20-0, but you kind of shot yourself in the foot a few times, especially on the offensive side with the I think it was 7 offensive penalties. So that puts you behind the chains on 7 different possessions there.
Well, this is kind of more of the timing and stuff, Howie, the way things went the other night. Obviously we made a bunch of first game mistakes. Like I told you the other day, we got 3 10th graders starting on the offensive line. Really got 4 if you count the tight end. And none of them cats ever really played very many meaningful varsity downs. So the lack of experience kind of really bit us up there. You combine that with the fact that all them guys are trying to do something totally different, totally new. The mistakes were, I guess, somewhat anticipated, but maybe not hardly to the multitude that they were actually taking place. I thought, we moved the ball pretty good at times. Then we just make one of those untimely errors at the wrong time, wrong place, and literally shoot ourselves in the foot. And it just be a drive killer. Um, that's just pretty much all it boiled down to. Just making mental mistakes, the wrong time, not really understanding maybe how some blocking schemes should unfold versus different looks, different fronts. You try to show them everything that you can think of, but it's still not the same as them seeing it in a live scenario. Obviously, we're gonna run the ball. I'm not basing anything off of our passing game. If we complete a pass, that's just like icing on the cake. That's just a bonus. But if you're trying to get 4 to 5, 3, 4, 5 every snap, and then you don't get that, maybe you have a negative play or you just get one or whatever that is, it definitely puts you behind the chains and makes it really hard to recover. And it seemed like that's where we stayed all night Friday night. We were always trying to scramble back to get ourselves out of a hole we dug ourselves into.
Absolutely. And your mistakes that you done were, to me, which I don't know nothing about football. I just stand on the sideline getting everybody's way. But for what I saw, all the mistakes are actually correctable, and you got to feel positive about that.
Well, there's a lot of things in life you can't control, but effort's not one of them. And I felt like the kids, for the most part, played hard all night. I think the effort was there. It's just, a lack of execution. Obviously, again, that stems from the youthfulness and just a lack of experience, the inexperience. So I don't feel like there's anything we did that we can't overcome. That's the beauty of having an off week this week. I told the guys Friday night after the game, this would be was basically starting over, be fall camp all over again for about the next 5 days. And, I didn't lie to them, Chief. I just walked off the practice field at 7 o'clock. So we've been going since 3. But we're getting better.
That's the key thing. Get better every play, and that's all that matters. Let's go around the horn. QB1, take it away.
Coach, I just got one question. Being first game, I know you've done some scrimmages and played some 7-on-7. How do you think the communication was between the staff and the players and in the staff itself? Was everybody pretty much on the same page, or did you have to figure out some thing of being first to game day?
No, we were good there. The staff communication between each other was good. It was fine. There was no problems there. Obviously, there's a few things from staff to player that we need to polish up on, but for the most part, we had good communication there. The only place I felt like we had a lapse of communication was player to player on the field. We early in the Jamboree game, we didn't do a very good job of getting lined up because of a lack of communication. So we had made that a point of focus last week, practicing up leading into North Jackson. And we were a little bit better, but still there was a few times where the front end was getting one call and the back end was getting one that didn't mesh up with what we were doing on the front end. So, and that's player to player. That's not a crosswire coming from the sideline or a coach coming in with a bad call. That's just us not meshing the front with the back in the right order.
Absolutely. Phil, go ahead, buddy.
Well, Coach, kind of sort of my kind of the way I look at things, like, of course, North Jackson's an experienced team. Their staff's been around a long time. Your guys coming in, new terminology, things are a little bit different. And I saw this kind of in the Sandrock, when Sandrock played in the Jamboree. It looked like everybody was kind of looking around at each other and were maybe thinking a little bit too much. And when you think too much, you don't react and you don't trust what you see in front of you. Did you see some of that?
No, we didn't have none of that. You know, we didn't have nobody like not really necessarily. I don't guess we were questioning ourselves. We just didn't execute really well. You know, there's certain ways that you need to perform certain blocks against certain looks. You know, we pretty much went the right way all night. We just didn't necessarily do it the right way. So, as far as, you know, I don't think we were necessarily confused about what to do. We just didn't necessarily do it the right way.
Okay.
Go ahead, Phil. Keep going.
Oh, well, that's just kind of, so I just wondered kind of what you were looking at there. But, you know, and coming in, Coach, to the season, when I didn't get to talk to you very much before now. Of course, you've been at Geraldine and other places. Is it special to be back at Sylvania, considering that's where you came from? Does things mean a lot more to you, especially from the heart?
Well, I don't want to sound, I don't know what the right term is. I don't know if it can actually mean more, but it does. It's got a different feel to it. Let's put it that way. Obviously, I'm a Sylvania Ram at heart. I told Chief the other day, if you cut me, I bleed green. So you know, it definitely has a different feel to it. But everywhere I've ever been, wherever I've been, whatever I've done, you know, they're gonna get all of me, regardless of where that's at or when it is. I don't know if I can give any more than all. That's pretty much all I got. So I don't know. It's kind of hard to explain. Obviously, you know, it feels different because I am at home. And I pretty much know everybody here. But as far as my level of, I don't know, sacrifice or my level of attention to detail, it really can't be no different.
Yeah. In other words, it doesn't matter what color you wear when you get out there, practice games and whatnot. You know, it's about the kids and about, you know, trying to win a football game. Well, how has the community been since you've come back? I know Sylvania fans, and I've been around them over the years, very passionate group, and you always travel well. Was the crowd good at North Jackson?
It wasn't bad. I'm not a real big. I don't really pay a whole lot of attention to what's going on outside the fences, Phil. Especially on Friday nights, I do my best to stay locked into the kids and what's going on in between the lines. What happens outside of the fence really don't make much difference to me. I don't want to sound like I don't appreciate the people, because I do appreciate them, but you know, I'm all about what's happening with them kids and what's going on that field.
Yeah,
I'll answer that question. It was a good crowd out at North Jackson that night. You know, bleachers was, of course, it wasn't full because North Jackson, being a 4A school, has got bigger bleachers in most schools, but the bleachers was pretty well filled and a good support. And I saw people there that I haven't saw a Sylvania game in quite a few years. So it was a lot of people there supporting the Rams. I'll be PR man every once in a while, Coach. How about that?
I hear you, buddy. You can have all that you want, Howie. You can have all that you want.
How has the kids responded this week after the game on Friday night?
They've had a good attitude. They've had a great attitude going into practice. Like I said, the last 2 days have been they've been tested, they've been pushed, they've been challenged, and they've stepped up, took it right on just like you're supposed to. Ain't none of them backed away from it. So I'm proud of them for that, you know. But we're still early in the week. We still got 3 days left. We'll see what that looks like come Friday.
Well, Coach, I want to ask you about this. You know, coming into this, you know, after the week, you start off playing a very good quality opponent in North Jackson. Is it good to learn early what your shortcomings are and see bye week, it gives you that opportunity because you know what you're lacking.
Oh, absolutely. There's nothing better than knowing where you need to knowing what you need to work on. Heck, I wish somebody told me before we played last week.
Mm.
I'd had it fixed before we got there. But yeah, as far as if I have a bye week, in my opinion, there's nothing better than like where it's at right now here, or possibly, like super late. If I have a bye week, I either want it really early or really late. I think really early gives you an opportunity to fix some stuff, and then really late, maybe like week 10, and give you a chance to catch your breath going into the playoffs if you're lucky enough to make it that far.
I understand.
Do you consider? I know North Jackson was a regular season game and everything, but do you kind of, to a certain extent, consider that like a jamboree part 2 and working all the bugs out this week, getting ready for Holly Pond next week?
Well, I don't really know that I consider any of them any different, Howie. When we get the opportunity to put our jerseys on, play on, under the lights versus anybody, anytime, that's, to me, that's a competition, and it don't matter if so-and-so says it counts or it don't count. They all matter to me, and they all have the same level of importance. If we're playing any type of competition, I just want us to compete.
So if we bring the checkers out and throw them down, you're ready to go and beat whoever.
Hey, it's on. I don't care if we're playing. My daddy says mumble peg. I don't even know what that is, but he said it all my life. He said, I don't care if we're playing mumble peg, I'm winning. So,
Hey, Randy, you're old. What is mobile pay?
A knock game. I know what it is. Hey, I was going to say I'm undefeated at buffet, but that's a different story. Go ahead, Allie.
Oh, man. Coach, how did it feel walking out, leading your team out of the locker room at North Jackson for the first time as a head coach of the regular season of the Sylvania Rams?
Kind of hard to describe there, Howie.
You know you're going to get this question in 3 more weeks when you have your first home game, and I asked you.
Obviously. I don't know. I mean, I'm always nervous going into a game. I'm a whole lot more nervous as a coach than I ever was as a player. I feel like when I played, I kind of knew what I was going to do because I knew exactly what I was supposed to do and understood my role. Now I'm depending on all these teenage kids to do what I'm telling them to do. That makes me real nervous. But it did have a little bit more of a nervous feel to it than it has in the past. I guess because, kind of like you don't want to disappoint your mom and daddy. You don't want to disappoint all those people that you really know, that you have relationships with, that you've had relationships with for years. Even though deep down, no matter what, they still gonna love you. You don't want to let them down. So,
Absolutely, Randy, what you got?
Hey, Coach, you were talking about your offense and especially up front. I know, a lot of people would describe your offense, a run-based offense, but you block things differently. Do you often, does the offensive lineman might block the same play 2 different ways? Was the transition between those sets good Friday night?
yeah, for the most part, yeah. Obviously we'll run, 5 or 6 different plays that have a different call, maybe a different name of the play, but they're blocked exactly the same way. What somebody may be doing on the back end is going to be a little bit different each time. So it gives the play a different look, but
Yeah.
the blocking schemes are the same. So we've done a pretty good job of, understanding what we were supposed to do. I guess overall, we probably might have had 10 blown assignments as far as a blocking rule.
This week during practice, did you reopen the competition like fall camp and say, hey, every position's up, come play hard, and you can get more minutes next Friday night at Holly Pond?
that competition never closed, buddy.
Yeah.
It won't never close. I tell them all the time, my job's the easy job. My job's to play the best one. Your job's to be the best one. If you ain't, figure out how to be, and I'll get you in there. So,
Coach, the game I called up here in Chattanooga, Hickson and East Hamilton, we had an hour and 45-minute first half because of cramps, and it was maybe the worst game I've ever seen for players having cramps. Is there a routine that you set up a few days ahead to try to keep from cramping so bad? I think our coach was serving pickle juice at halftime trying to solve some cramps. So did you have a jar of pickles over in the corner handing out at halftime?
no, sir. Kind of hard to answer that question, but I'm going to answer it like this. The 2 or 3 day routine before the game ain't got nothing to do with it. It's about the 3 months before the game. It's got more to do with it than anything.
Yes, sir.
You better start getting in shape about the first week of June if you're going to be able to play in the first week of, or the first couple of weeks of August.
It was a hot Friday night for the first game too.
It was hot. I don't know. I don't think we had a kid cramp.
That's great. That's great. We were an hour and 45 minutes to play 2 quarters of football. Games were ending by the time we were in the third quarter. So it's just the way it was. Coach, how did you feel about your quarterback play coming out of the game? You said you struggled a bit, but overall, how did you feel about the way the quarterbacks ran the offense?
I mean, for the most part, done a pretty good job. We had a couple of communication errors. We tried to do some shifting here and there. Partially my fault on a play or two. I might have been a little bit late getting the play in. But on the flip side of that, we got to do a better job of getting in and out of the huddle a little bit faster and getting the ball where we can execute those shifts. And then a little bit of confusion when we would shift the cadence between the quarterback and the center. They weren't real sure of, where we were going with that on a couple of cases. But for the most part, he done a pretty good job getting everybody in and out, making sure we were all lined up right, understanding situations. Obviously, threw 2 interceptions. The first one was on a 3rd and long play. He took a deep shot down the field. The pick, probably as good or better than a punt. Wasn't a bad ball. We didn't really compete for it at the receiver spot like we should have. The second one, I attribute that one to youth. Some on his part, some on the receiver's part. 10th grade receiver didn't really execute his route the way he should, and then 10th grade quarterback held on the ball for about a half a second too long, and so got it picked. Combination of those 2 things get you in trouble.
I know you played some younger backs too. What are you looking for a young running back just to come out and compete hard?
I tell them running backs run. That's the reason they're called running backs. So if you wind up with just run, just run where they ain't and run hard. That's all.
Run to daylight. Run to daylight, right, Coach?
Yeah, they ain't real complicated.
I guess you'd call me an eating back then. So, Bill, go ahead and bail me out on that one.
Oh, yeah, I know that you stick a piece of watermelon on the ground and you're going down in a hurry.
Hey,
I know how that works.
If they put hot dogs at the goal line, I'd have 1,000 yards every year.
Yeah, no, that's true. That's true. I'll agree with that one. I got you there. Well, Coach, we talk about, the shortcomings and, of course, coming out of a loss, you learn a lot of things about your team, but also you learn a lot of positive things. What are some of the positive things you took away from the game? Because always there is some positive out there. I know you said effort was good. What are some of the other things you took out of the game as positive for this football team?
Well, defensively, I thought we were really close defensively. There's a lot of similarities as far as mistakes on both sides of the ball. But defensively, I thought we played pretty good. We controlled the front for the most part throughout the night. They had a drive late. They got in a kind of an unbalanced set. We didn't do a very good job of getting adjusted to that. They hurt us for that. And they busted a play or two. One play on the first drive of the second half, they went fast and we didn't get lined up, and they gashed us with one there. But for the most part, play after play, we've done a pretty good job of controlling the line of scrimmage. The linebackers kept their eyes where they needed to be for the most part, made pretty good fits. And as a whole, we ran to the ball, so that's really all you can ask for defensively. Get your eyes in the right place, get lined up right, and run to the ball, and good things will happen. That was kind of a bright spot for me. Obviously, we gave up 3 touchdowns, and you don't ever want to give up 3 touchdowns, but one of those come on a 3rd and 15 where we just kind of had a mental lapse at corner and let a guy get behind us. Then another one was on the first drive of the second half where they went fast, like I said, and kind of caught us not getting lined up, I guess, caught us sleeping, however you want to say that. And then that drive late where they got an unbalanced look, we just couldn't seem to get lined up right.
All right. Go ahead, Howie.
Yeah. I sent you the defensive stats, and I didn't send everybody that had tackles because it was pretty much everybody that played defense, because everybody flowed, zoom, whatever you want to say it, to the ball, and it wasn't always just one person getting the tackle. It was a group effort, and it was hard to make the mark down the tackles. All right, enough about North Jackson, Coach. Let's move on to Holly Pond. What do you expect from them this next week, and give us a little bit of keys to the game?
A little bit too early for that, Howie. I'm going to be honest with you. I have looked at them, but I've been so consumed with us that I really hadn't even moved into that. They're more of a run-based team. That they line up with a tight end most of the time, a wing. Sometimes they've got a wing and a slot with a single receiver with a fullback. They're not like I would say comparable to us formation-wise as far as what they're trying to get in. The offensive line, the O-line, D-line, they look like they're big kids. I hadn't broke down their personnel yet again. I hadn't really dove into that. Obviously, I've watched them. But they look big up front. Got some long kids, some long, big kids. Fullback looks like a pretty good-sized kid. Runs hard. They got some pretty good skill guys on the edge. Obviously they're a region game, so it's going to be a real big game for us. I want to go into the region with a 1 in the win slot, not in the L slot. So I'll break them down a whole lot more in detail come this weekend, leading into practice next week. But right now we're really just trying to focus on us.
You're basically just self-scouting yourself from this past week and trying to improve off of what happened last Friday night then.
Yeah, absolutely. I not taking the off week for granted, obviously, because it fell at a really good spot. But 99.9% of the time you get 1 week to work on somebody, and so that's usually enough. There's been some cases where obviously I'd like to add some more, but we're going to take this week and really focus on us. Try to improve on things that we need to do better as a team on both sides of the ball, offensively and defensively.
So I remember that I was on the sideline when you was helping with Coach Mashburn and Coach Arnold was there and all that, and back then those philosophies were the defense puts 9 in the box, we're putting 10 in the box on offense to match up for them. So you're kind of running the same type of offense right now.
I am. You know, that's my idea of heaven. So if we can just pound it out, we can get 3.5. That's all I really want. If we can get 3.5, I'm tickled to death. You do 3.5 3 times, you can do the math. That's 10.5. That means it's the first down.
Well, I don't know. Randy's a Tennessee graduate, so I'm not sure if he can do that math or not.
There is no Tennessee shots during the show. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Coach, they're welcome. Me and a couple of coaches go at it pretty hard. I put it that way.
I hear you.
So, but
You ought to be used to it.
I lived down there for 7 years. Y'all kind of toughened me up a little bit. You know what? 15 years, I got used to playing that Crimson team.
Yeah.
I hadn't even asked, Coach, and we're going to jump ahead to that real quick. Are you an Alabama-Auburn fan?
Alabama.
I believe Phil just popped back in, Howie.
Well, his video's not on. It's not allowing me to connect them.
Okay.
But moving on to next week, Holly Pond. Like I said, you hadn't. When will you actually start watching film on Holly Pond and getting ready to let the players know here's how we're going to attack Holly Pond?
I've already started watching film, but I'll break it down and they'll get the game plan Monday morning as far as what we're trying to do. Obviously, what we expect out of them, what we'd expect to see from them offensively and defensively. Right now, that I've only got the one game. Got to see them there, and we're be able to build a little bit more of a game plan. We'll get a little bit more on. Awesome. But we'll start breaking stuff down probably Friday, Saturday, and then Sunday we'll get together and try to put what we want to try to put together.
Do you have a cot there in your office yet where you can just sleep there at night?
I got a couch, bro.
That's all you need.
Yeah.
Hey, I've got one more question. I'm going to let y'all go so you can go large screen. Coach, you said something that just weighed with the 5 years of this programming and what we've done on RiverCity-Media. And you're probably the 50th coach that said it, and I've never asked this question. You said your linebackers got their eyes in the position they needed. Is that a coach activity that you coach them to move them there, or is that a coach and just instinctually they know which way to look?
Oh no, that's the number one thing we coach on defense is your eyes. Okay. We tell them where we want their eyes pre-snap. If this happens, your eyes have got to go here. There's a progression you have to take with your eyes on every snap. If you're going to be a good defensive player, the number one thing you got to be is eye discipline.
Hey, I'm going to cut my camera off and let y'all go widescreen there, Howie, so we can see Coach a little better.
Yeah, go ahead. There he is. Look at him. What's that pretty face looking at us? Phil, go ahead. Ask some questions, buddy.
Well, I just want to ask you, Coach, does the kids, do they do a lot of film? I know you break down film for them and tell them what they're going to see and of course, reenact what the other team's going to do. But do your kids, do you want them or are they like to watch a lot of film?
I wish that's all they did was watch film. Yeah. But they do. They do a pretty good job of getting their eyes on the film too. And, obviously I promote that. And they do understand that there's nothing like being able to see it. We try to film as much of practice as we can. And then, I really like it for them to get their eyes on it before we come back in the next day, where they understand what it is that, if we're trying to fix something, then they've already seen that mistake and they understand why that doesn't work or why it would work better if we done it a different way. But for the most part, they do try to watch film and be students of the game, and that goes a long way. There ain't nothing like seeing it.
Yeah, hey, I understand it. Well, I want to ask you about this, Coach. I've never talked to you this much about things. As a head coach, naturally, you're the head guy. You call all the shots. Do you let a lot of your coaches kind of sort of turn them loose and let them coach, and you just kind of sort of observe, or are you a lot hands on? Yeah,
I try to let them
yeah,
do it.
yeah,
That's really, really hard for me to do. But I do try. And for the most part, I feel like I do a decent job of letting them do the majority of the coaching position wise. Um, I try to stay out of it. And there's a few things that, you know, um, I've got my hands more on than I do others. But I've got some really good coaches on staff, and I do trust them. And for the most part, I try to let them have them.
yeah. Well, who are some of those? Name some of those guys. These guys, coaches, your coaching staff, even volunteers, are a huge part of a football program. Talk about some of those guys.
Um, I've got I got some really good help. So you're gonna make me do something I don't do much, Phil. I'm gonna try to
Yeah,
name some people, and I'm gonna mess up.
yeah,
Um, I'll just work my way across the practice field. I got a volunteer, um, Adam Niblett, played here. I don't remember what year he graduated. I think he might have been a '05 maybe. He's probably one of a lot of people probably don't have a clue, but in my opinion, he is one of the best offensive line coaches um, in North Alabama. He went to college, played 4 years at Cumberland University, started all 4 years at guard, and then he came back. He got a math degree. He's and he helped Coach Arnold at Geraldine about, I don't know, 6 or 7 years, maybe a little bit longer than that. Was actually the offensive coordinator the last couple of years there with Coach Arnold. And then, he got married and had a kid, and he wound up getting a job at Northeast teaching math, and kind of got away from coaching for a little while. He's got a boy now that's, I think, 10-year-old, and he's in school up here at Sylvania, and he's been helping some with the younger kids, the Pee Wee program, for the last couple of years. And, well, me and him's had a really good relationship over the years. And when I took the job, I've been kind of pulling at him, know, um, basically begging him to get him back out here. And he comes and helps when he can come and help. And it's really, really good because I've got a young guy that played for me at Geraldine, just graduated college. I've got him hired on staff. He's trying to learn about how to be a good offensive line coach. And so it's been really, really good for him. So he's kind of got a mentor down there that he can learn from, that I feel like is one of the best guys that he could learn from. So helping with offensive line, that's Coach Adam Niblett. And then Coach Barclay's the younger guy that I've hired on that played for me at Geraldine. He's an outstanding young man. I thought the world of him when he played for me. He's just tons of character. He is exactly what he says he is. He's a man of God. He's a preacher. He's a great example for these kids. He don't just say it; he lives it, and I'm proud of him for that. But as far as coaching goes, he's learning, and he's going to be a really good one day, because he's going to be the best he can be at whatever it is he's doing. So, and he's got a great opportunity in front of him to learn from a good mentor. Jeff Jackson, he's been here. He was the junior high coach last year. He's coaching the D-line. Hadn't had a whole lot of opportunities to just basically get to know Coach Jackson before I come here. I'd never even seen him or ever even met him before. But he's been, all in since I got here. I don't have any complaints with him. It's just been what it is. We ain't been socializing. We've been working. So, but he's worked hard. Whatever it is I asked him to do, he's been all in. He's took over the D-line. He's working with them. I keep coming this way. I got Got another volunteer that everybody from Sylvania knows. Sam Graham's here. He's helping me. He's helping coach linebackers and helping on defense. Again, as far as an individual and as a person, you can't find a better person. He's the cream of the crop. He's helping with linebackers and then pretty much anything defensively. He's been helping me this week some with the D-line, trying to do some things a little bit different. Ian Richards is a younger coach as well, but he's fairly seasoned. He's been with some really good coaches and some really good programs, and had the opportunity to learn a lot of things. Obviously, when I took the job here, he had just been hired on here, but we've built a relationship pretty much right off. I think a lot of Coach Richards. He's our DC. He also helps with the linebackers, or he's the linebacker coach. And him and Coach Graham, they kind of tag team that out. And, one of them will work, this part one day, and one of them will work another part the next day. So they've been working really good together, and I think it's been really good for both of them, bouncing ideas off each other and putting stuff together for practice and so on and so forth. Coach Chase Willingham, he's been here for a couple of years now. He's the head baseball coach. I've known him since he was a little old bitty kid. Back to my days when I was framing, I actually built their house. Lord, I don't know when that was, but his daddy David, and we've had a relationship for years, and I think a lot of Chase, and he developed into a fine young man. The character of the coaching staff here is as good as anywhere I've ever been. Chase helps with the secondary. Right now, he's coaching the corners. Offensively, he's working with the wideouts. He does a great job there. My brother Brian, he's helping me here. He's again, he played 4 years of college football in the secondary. Seasoned guy. He's working with the safeties in the secondary as a whole. Got another volunteer, Thomas Willoughby, young man that played for me again at Geraldine, played quarterback and outside linebacker. He's I'm trying to let him somewhat focus on helping with the quarterback, because he's been there and done that. Obviously a bunch of new steps, new footwork for those guys, and having somebody that's done that before, be able to be there and bounce stuff off of has been very helpful for those guys. And then he was, one of the better outside linebackers that I've ever had as far as being disciplined and understanding the game. And so he's working a little bit with those guys, trying to make sure I ain't left nobody off. And I'm sure I have. And, we got some other volunteer guys that just basically do whatever they need to do. We got, Nick Bryant's here. He's here every day. It don't matter if I ask him to go work with the kickers, or if I ask him to film practice, or if I need, the weight room swept, whatever that is. He's here every day. He's one of those guys that you just, you definitely can't take for granted, because he's just whatever you need him to do, that's what he's here for. And those guys are really, really hard to replace. Or when they're not here, you definitely miss them.
Well, Coach, naturally up front on both sides of the ball is the key to your game, naturally. I mean, it always has been. But, football has changed a lot. And you have to have kids, not only do they have to be specialized, and I guess that's where having a lot on your staff helps. They have to be specialized now, because teams are looking for advantages, and they find them. If you've got weak spots, they're going to find them. So kids have to be a lot more specialized, but also they have to be a lot more versatile, because a lot of times they're asked to play a lot of positions, because numbers games are sometimes tough on high school football teams.
You ain't telling me nothing. I guess specialized to an extent, maybe, but obviously, we want to try to break things ever down as far as we can to an individual. You got your groups when your offensive line, but we want to be able to coach a guard, let somebody just coach a guard because he's got position specific, um, techniques that he needs to work on versus what maybe that tackle's working on. So yeah, they need to be specialized to an extent, but they've also got to be flexible enough that if I play tackle, I need to be able to play guard, and if I play guard, I need to be able to play center, and vice versa. So we don't spend a whole lot of time on saying you're just this or you're just that. Obviously, the more things you know and the more positions you learn, the more opportunity you give yourself to get on the field.
Yeah, definitely. I understand. Well, Coach, you talked about some of these guys on your staff. Faith is a big thing. Kids nowadays, and I think this is where football really helps. Kids need this kind of thing off the field. Life has changed. Social media, cell phones, so many distractions in the world. But the one thing I think football does, it brings kids together, communication, focus, and I think it's one of the best games for kids to be involved in because it teaches you so much about life.
You hit the nail on the head, Phil. I'm a 3-sport guy. I love athletics, period, in general. But there's something different about the game of football that it challenges you in ways that nothing else can really challenge you. It'll push you to your limits and then beyond. So there's just some things about football that's just different. As far as, the other side of that, off the field, I don't know. I think Howie I was talking to here a while back. That side of it didn't really cross my mind for about the first 10 years of my coaching career. All I was focused on was how can we get the next win? What can we do to be a better football team? But I think this fall, this is year 28 for me coaching high school football. About the last 10, 15 years, I've really, really, not that I've quit worrying about wins and losses or trying to figure out how to win, but that's not been my central focus. I'm a whole lot more concerned with what kind of young man are we helping this kid become.
Yeah, hey, I understand. Well, I'm going to ask you one more question, and I'll turn you back over to Howie. Is that, kind of piggybacking on, is that what keeps you coming back year after year? Because, you've coached many years and you could walk away at any time. Does the relationships with kids, coaches, and that type of thing keep you coming back year after year?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I obviously love the game. I love the game of football, but I love these kids even more. The ones that come back years later and they have the testimony that, something you said or something you did turned their life around or made them see something in a way that they'd never seen it before. That's the ones that really make an impact on me. There's nothing better than that.
Coach, we had a comment come in a few minutes ago from Corey Wheeler saying Coach Waldrop is the man. So is that one of your former players or?
No, Corey Wheeler. He's just an associate of mine. Me and him, we fished a little bit together.
So what does Coach Waldrop do away from the football field?
I'm an outdoor enthusiast. If there's something going on outside, that's what I want to be doing. I love to hunt. It don't make no difference what we're hunting, but I love to hunt. I'm an I love the crappie fish. Um, I'm a cat. I don't know if it's hunting and fishing. I'm in. Um, I love music. I've been playing music and singing since I was 14, 15-year old. Um, that's just something about it. My whole family um, grew up, playing and singing bluegrass music, and that's what we do. We get together on family gatherings. There'll be 90 to 100 of us, and we all pile into one room. And everybody breaks out a guitar, or, a banjo or something, and we'll get together and just sing class songs for hours. So, that's just a part of who I am.
Phil, something you probably don't know, but I'm breaking Coach down a little bit, cracking the armor some. He plays the guitar, and I've nearly got him talked into bringing the guitar and
Yeah.
picking us a little tune on here one night.
Hey, that'd be okay. That'd be good. Yeah. Yeah.
But Howie
Yeah.
keeps saying that, but I keep telling Howie that's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen, because I mainly know Brad Waldrop, the football coach, and of course I was around when you were playing at one time, calling games. So that's how I know you. But I didn't know you as a big rock star.
Coach, I'm not the only one. We got a comment coming in from Sherry Harrison Bryant. Coach, bring your guitar next time, and we will sing.
Yeah, she's trying to start something.
Yeah, and for some of you that don't know, Coach's nephew Eli got his band, and they're going to be performing at Boom Days here in a few weeks in Fort Payne, and did a great job at Wingfest as well, performing during all that time. And Coach wasn't able to hear it because he was too busy cooking that day.
Good Lord.
Coach put me on the spot. Phil, let me tell you what he done. I'm standing there at the band tent selling desserts and everything, and I holler at Coach, and I'm like, "Hey, Brad, come here." He came over there. He's like, "Hurry up! It's my time to drop the wings or turn the wings or something like that." And when he said that, I was like, I froze up. I'm like, what was I going to say? Because I wasn't expecting that answer to come from him at that moment. And I was like, "Hey, we got a show coming up Tuesday night." He's like, "Yeah, just let me know. Remind me. Send me text." I said, "All right."
That's a good day. That's a good day. Yeah, that nephew of mine, Eli, he's a multi-talented kid. He's blessed, gifted. He's our worship leader at church. Obviously, he's more skilled than I ever thought about being when it comes to music. I'm what you call a singer. I heard everybody sing. He can sing.
Yeah.
He's definitely a lot more gifted than I am. But yeah, I've been blessed in multiple ways with a bunch of people in my life that have blessed me back. And it's just, if I started trying to list and label people, we'd be here till midnight.
Randy, founder of RiverCity-Media, that's off camera right now, says he will sing too, but badly. So, Coach,
Well,
it's getting.
We may request him to sing a solo, Howie.
That'll work.
Yeah.
He can sing so low they can't nobody hear him.
Some of that music he likes, you can't understand it anyway, so you wouldn't know if he could sing it or not.
Yeah, I'm not listening to anything I can't understand.
Yeah.
Hey, Coach, back to Wingfest real quick. It was a big turnout that night. I'm sure y'all raised a lot of money and everything. And one of the biggest crowds I think I've seen there in the last 3 or 4 years that I've been there.
It was a good group of people. My daddy said he didn't know there's that many people in Sylvania. But yeah, it was a good turnout. I think everybody had a good time. Got some good food, got some good wings, had some good music, good fellowship, good for the community to get together and, have a shared purpose, have a shared goal right there. That's, something for everybody to kind of build on. There's nothing better than relationships. That's what life's all about, building relationships inside of your family and outside your family and in your community.
I think your eldest, Styles, lost about 10 pounds running back and forth from tent to tent with all the wings and bags of wings that he had that day.
He definitely worked his tail off. Ain't no doubt about that. Wish you wouldn't have brought him up, Howard. It's kind of a soft spot right now. He had to go back to Rochester, New York last weekend, so I've been missing him pretty hard for the last couple of days.
I can imagine. Absolutely. When your own been around forever and then they end up fleeing the nest, flying away from the nest, it's hard to see them go.
Ain't no doubt.
Well, Coach, we're going to let you get going. Got a big one coming up, a region game next week against Holly Pond. And, of course, we wish you the best of luck. And it's that time of night. You said you was going to think about it, which I know he hadn't thought about it, but it's time for the shout-outs.
You done it again, Chief. Obviously, I ain't thought about it. I'm going to give one out to my assistant principal this week, Holly Curry. She's a Holly Murdoch now. As much as I've got going on, she bailed me out yesterday, so I'm going to give a shout out to the assistant principal. She's been working on the AD part of the thing, and she's done a lot to help me out here as of late. And so Miss Murdoch, she gets a shout out tonight.
Absolutely. And of course, for being a guest here on River City Media's Sylvania Rounds football show, when you see John Sills tomorrow, he'll give you a high five and a go rounds.
He will. He will. John's always got something to say about the interview. Not that I really want to hear it, but he's always got something to say about it.
Our budget's real slim, so that's the best we can do is get John giving people high fives and go rounds.
Yeah, I guarantee you.
And that's someone else that's on your sideline helping you out every way you can.
He is. Well. He is. Oh, John, he's a good one. He's a good hand. He's good help. It's hard to find people. I've said multiple times, there's a million abilities in the world, but the most important one is probably dependability. And John's one of them you can depend on.
I ran into the buses leaving for the game Friday night at the crossing, and I saw one bus turn, saw the other bus turn, and then John was behind the buses in his cop car. And I called him. I said, John, what's going on, man? I said, why ain't you leading the team? He's like, something happened. Coach Waldrop said it's 4:30. It's time to go. And they left. So I just had to fall in where I could.
One of them dang coaches didn't know that 4:30 meant 4:30. So I got on the bus and we left. That coach happened to be riding with John, so they got left here.
What if it had been one of your players that had left something in the field house and it was?
Say they got left here.
Here we go. Well, that's what I'm talking about.
I mean, it is what it is.
No special treatment. You got to be. No. Everybody's got to be there. If it's 4:30 leaving time, be on that bus and time to go.
Time to go.
Yeah, I know that was a story. I remember Johnny Johnson, who was the baseball coach at over at James Clements, and he was talking about that. Said a kid got to the bus, was fixing to get on it, but it was time to go, and they shut the door and left him standing there because he wasn't on the bus in time. He said, needless to say, he didn't miss again.
Yeah.
Yeah. Would you do one of your players like that, Coach, if they're getting on the bus?
Absolutely not.
Yeah, you would.
They get it. They get an earful, I bet.
Yeah.
Coach, best of luck coming up Friday night, a week from Friday night. Everybody go out and support the Rams a week from Friday night at Holly Pond, first region game. Like Coach said earlier, every game counts to him. He wants to win every one of them. But for that first step to make it to the playoffs, this first game against Holly Pond means a whole lot.
Absolutely.
So come out and support the Rams a week from Friday night at Holly Pond. We will not have a Sylvania Rams show next week. Part of it's because of a holiday on Monday, and part of it's because the fat boy myself has got a lot of stuff going on next week and wouldn't be able to do it. So I'm not going to miss the Sylvania Rams show. So, Coach, I'm sure you don't mind missing a week either.
I ain't going to be mad at you.
Well, you won't get fined next week. I can tell you that much.
I hear you, buddy.
That's why I canceled next week, because I couldn't afford the fine.
Yeah, because it's 10% more than last year.
I hear you.
Yeah.
So it's still zero, right?
Yep, absolutely.
It don't add up much, but
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, actually, the fine is having to buy Randy supper one night. My gosh.
Y'all keep
Yeah.
talking about fines. There's going to be a buffet fine coming up for Call Bow. That's it.
Well, Coach Waldrop would be more than happy to join us for a buffet, I'm sure.
You dang right. I didn't get this big on Iron Sunshine.
Yeah.
So, Phil Harris, thanks for joining us tonight. Good luck Friday night on the scoreboard show, and you and Jeff have a great show as always. And how did everything go on that first show, Phil?
It went pretty well. And, you know, it pretty well. Everything kind of fell into place. We was one person short, but we kind of sort of make up for it. It all went well. Coach, I want to wish you the best. Good to get to talk to you. You know, the time we ever talked to you is on the scoreboard. I've never really got to talk to you much in person, but it's good to visit with you a little bit.
Yes, sir. You too, bro.
Randall Cunningham, where are you going to be at with Hickson Friday night?
Hickson versus Saudi Daisy. You know, there ain't nothing worse than people from Saudi Daisy, so we need to go get a W. Big game. It's a big rivalry, Hickson and Saudi Daisy.
Coach Waldrop, it's going to be the last Friday night you have off for the next 14 weeks. What are you going to be doing on Friday night?
I'll probably be at a football game.
Will you take the time to go scout somebody?
Oh, yeah.
Are you going to try to make it a region against a region, or just?
How you ask questions a man's trying to keep private?
Yeah.
No, I'm not asking which particular game he's going to. I'm just curious.
Yeah,
Is it going to be
well, people will be coming up asking for autographs and be bothering him. He's trying to watch the ball game.
Yeah.
You got to go quit prying so much, Howard.
my fault, Coach. My bad. So,
Yeah.
He might have been going to a buffet and didn't want people to know.
Yeah. Get that.
Well,
Get the
Man,
ball game.
I'm going to eat somewhere, Randall.
Yeah.
that's
Hey,
what,
Phil, I'll see you Saturday in Atlanta for the kickoff
Okay.
of college football season.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
yeah, Coach, you got to watch out for these two down below us. They're Tennessee fans, so you got to
Well,
watch out for them.
Look, you can't have everything.
Can't get a lot with two Tennessee fans because there ain't a lot that we got to give.
Yeah.
Take us home, Howie Cheney.
Absolutely. Last question, Coach Waldrop, Tennessee or Syracuse?
I got to give that in Tennessee.
That's a smart man.
There you
Yeah.
go. For Phil Harris,
Phil,
Randall
hot
Cunningham.
dog or hamburger? What am I going to eat first?
Do
Well,
what?
you'll buy both.
What am I
Yeah.
going to eat first? A hot dog or a hamburger?
You're going to eat the hot dog, so you you'll eat the hot dog.
All right. You know me. Good
Yeah.
night.
Good night, everybody. Phil Harris, Randall Cunningham. I'm Howard Shady and Coach Waldrop. Best of luck next week. We'll see y'all later.